Hi everyone, myself Parvahita, Assistant Professor of CSE Department from Rohini College of Engineering and Technology. I am here to explain a few concepts of the subject GE 8151 Problem Solving and Python Programming. We are discussing the unit 3 here, that is control flow and functions. The topic explained are fruitful functions, local and global scope, function composition and recursion. The objective of learning these topics is to be familiar about the concepts of the fruitful functions, local and global scope, function composition and recursion. Let us know something about fruitful functions. The functions that returns a value are called the fruitful functions. The return statement is followed by an expression which is evaluated and its result is returned to the caller as the fruit of the calling this function. Okay. So, length of variable which takes the input as a string or a list and produce the length of a string or a list as output. So, input the value which will be given as the fruitful function which will be written as the result. So, we have heard about a dead code. Okay. So, code that appears after a return statement or any other place the flow of execution can never reach is called the dead code. Since these return statements are in an alternative conditional, only one will be executed. As soon as the one is executed, the function terminates without executing the subsequent statements. So, considering this example, in this absolute value function, we have two statements, that is, if x is less than 0, return minus x, else return x. So, this minus x will be returned. So, the next one will not be returned. So, that is the dead code. So, consider this example. Write a Python program to find the distance between 2 points. We all know the distance between 2 points, the formula is root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square is will give us the distance between 2 points. Okay. So, how we are writing it as a Python program. So, first we are importing the math function. In the first line we are importing the math module. Okay. So, we are importing the math module which will retrieve the function square root. So, we have a square root of d square root function here. So, that will be retrieved from the math module. So, define distance of x1, y1, x2, y2. So, x1, y1, x2, y2 are the parameters, okay, that is passed to the function distance. So, we have this function distance and it is defined as, so this def distance is a function definition. So, we are giving dx is equal to x2 minus x1 and dy is equal to y2 minus y1. Then we are printing the value of dx is what value for dx we are giving, that will be it will be printed here. Okay. So, the formula is d is equal to dx the whole square, that is given as asterisk 2 plus dy the whole square is given as asterisk 2. Okay. Okay. So, distance is equal to math dot square root of d and return dist here. Okay. So, x1, x2, y1, y2 are obtained as input. Okay. We are giving the that as input here. So, x1 value will be obtained, enter the first number will be given as x1, second number will be given as x2, third number as y1 and fourth number as y2. Okay. So, after getting all these points, then the next one is the distance between 2 points or distance x1 comma x2 y1 comma y2. So, this x1 x2 y1 y2, these are the parameters given in the distance function call. Okay. So, this distance x1, this distance given in the last line is the function call. So, these parameters are passed to the function definition to the top. Okay. So, it is passed there and the values will be substituted inside this formula, so that we will get the answer and it will be returned in the dist, return dist. Okay. So, this is the output which we will get. Okay. First we are entering the number x1, x2, y1, y2. So, x1 is given as 2, x2 is 4 and y1 is 6 and y2 is 12. Okay. So, with that we are substituting and we are getting the output in the previous program. Okay. Then it is explained as such. So, function name is distance and that is the function definition as I have told you, and the return keyword is which will retrieve the return value. Now let us see about function call statement. So the syntax of that is, so result is equal to function name will have some parameters inside. Okay, so that is, the parameter is the input data that is sent from one function to another. So parameters are of two types, formal parameter and actual parameter. So the formal parameter is that is given in the function definition, and actual parameter is that is parameter that is given in the function call. So consider this example, def cube of x. So this is a function definition part, and return x star x is there, it is the formal parameter. So x is the formal parameter which passes through the function definition. So a is equal to input, enter the number. So we are giving a number to a, that is we are giving 2 in this example. So b is equal to cube of a. So cube of a is the function call, and so a is the actual parameter which passes through the function call. Okay, so this a's value will be given to the x value, okay, in the function definition. So already we have given the number as 2, so cube of 2, so this 2 will be going to the function definition. So 2 into 2 into 2 we will get as 8, and that will be returned to the value in the print code. Okay, so that will be returned there. Let us see about the scope and lifetime of variables. The scope of a variable is a portion of a program where the variable is recognized. So in which portion of the program this variable will be recognized is called the scope of the variable. So parameters and the variables defined inside a function is not visible from outside the function. So they have a local scope. So that is called as local variable. The lifetime of a variable is the period throughout which the variable exists in the memory. So that we call it as lifetime. Okay, so the lifetime of the variable inside a function is as long as the function executes. So they are destroyed once they return from the function. So hence a function does not remember the value of the variable from its previous call. So consider this example, define my function, in this x is equal to 10 is given, then print value inside the function as x. So first the x value is 10, then x is equal to 20 is given. So now the x value is 20. So in that my function the value outside the function is 20. So that will be printed as output. So local scope and local variables. So the local variable is a variable that is accessible only within a given function. Such variables are said to have local scope. Okay. So in this first function, so n is equal to, that is function 1, n is equal to 10 is given. So n value is 10 in this. So print n in function 1, we will retrieve the value as 10 for function 1. So define function 2, in that n value is 20. So when we are printing this values, so n value in function 1 is only 10 and in function 2 only 20. Okay, so since the variables are same but in different functions we have different variables. So outside the function it is not visible. So global variables and global scope. A global variable is a variable that is defined outside any function definition. Such variables are said to have global scope. So the variable max is defined outside function 1 and function 2, and therefore they are said to be global to each. Okay. So here max is equal to 100. So 100 is defined outside the functions. So it is a global variable. So both the function 1 and function 2 can take the maximum value as 100. Okay. So it can be accessed inside the function, both these functions. So it is of global scope. Function composition. So we can call one function from within another function. So this ability to call one function from another function is called as a composition. So as an example, we will write a function that takes 2 points, the center of a circle and a point on the perimeter. So and it computes the area of the circle also. So assume that the center point is stored in the variables xc and yc, and the perimeter point is in xp and yp. The first step is to find the radius of the circle, which is the distance between the 2 points. So radius is equal to distance of xc, yc, xp, yp. The second step is to find the area of a circle, so and with the radius and then return it. So again we will use the earlier functions as result to area of radius. So return result wrapping, that is we can wrap these two functions into one function as we get define area to xc, yc, xp, yp. So radius is equal to distance of that, and result is equal to area of radius, and we are going to return the result. Okay. So we can call this area as area 2 because to distinguish from the earlier area function. Okay, so that will be given as here. So the temporary variables radius and result are useful for the development and debugging. So, but once the program is working, we make it more concise to compose this finding, that is addition of 3 numbers using the function. So define addition. So x comma y comma z. So that is the function 1. Then another function is given as get. Okay. So in this get function, we are giving the values for a, b and c. We are getting as input. So that values will be given in the function call, that is addition of a, b, c, a comma b comma c. That is the actual parameters that will be given to the formal parameters, that is x comma y comma z. And so when we are adding, we will add that numbers. So in this example, we are given a is equal to 5, b is equal to 10 and c is equal to 15. So these values will be passed to as per formal parameters to add is equal to, that is a will be given to x, b will be given to y and c will be given to z. So then when we are adding, we will receive the value as 30, that will be returned in the add variable. Now let us see about recursion. A recursion function is the one which calls itself again and again to repeat the code. So the recursive function does not check any condition, it executes like normal function definition and the particular function is called again and again. So this is a syntax for the recursion, that is define function of parameter, that is def function of parameter will be given inside this function. So then body of the function. So the advantages of recursion are the recursive function makes the code look clean and elegant, and a complex task can be broken down into simpler subproblems using recursion, so that we do not have a complex task, it can be broken down into simpler problems. Okay. Sequence generation is easier with the recursion than using some nested iteration. Okay. Then the disadvantages of recursion are sometimes the logic behind the recursion is hard to follow through. Okay. So since it is called again and again, the logic will be somewhat tough to take over. So recursive calls are expensive, that is inefficient, as they take up a lot of memory and time. Then recursive functions are hard to debug. So these are the examples of recursion. So as a factorial program already we have explained, that is the in the concept of recursion. Okay. So since the factorial function is called again and again, so this is an example for recursion. Okay. So define fact of n is given if first if n value is checked with the whether it is less than or equal to 1. If it is less than or equal to 1, then we will be returning the same value, that is n's value. Okay, otherwise we are going to calculate return n into fact of n minus 1. So already in previous examples I have explained this, so you can easily remember that. So when we are giving the n as 5, we are going to find the factorial of 5 into 4 factorial. So that is 5 into factorial of the n minus 1, that is 4. Okay. So that will be calculated. Since this factorial function is called again and again, so this comes under the recursion. Okay. So explanation you can see in this down. So first iteration will calculate 5 into fact of 4, then second iteration 5 into 4 into fact of 3, then 5 into 4 into 3 into fact of 2. So since this fact function is again called again and again, it is an example for recursion. Similarly, when we are calculating the sum of n natural numbers using the recursion, say here also NAT, that is natural of n, this function will be called again and again, since we are going to add all these the cumulative values of these. So it is called again and again. So see the explanation here. So first iteration 5 plus natural of 4, that is we are accumulating the addition of all these 4 numbers. So then 5 plus 4 plus then natural of 3. So again it is calculating the accumulation of the other numbers. Okay. So this comes under the recursion. So these are the questions which could be asked later to this topic. Thank you.